Hi everybody, I just want to make a quick little video for this one right here. So this will be your next big lab that you guys will be doing. So how does the process of meiosis reduce the number of chromosomes in reproductive cells and cause genetic variability? I want to quickly go over this with you guys, and then I actually already have a video that I made from previous time of teaching this earlier this year, and I'll just I'll link that to this as well to give you guys some ideas. And a few things will be different since you're not in class with me. But anyways, you guys, what we're going to be doing in this lab is looking deep at meiosis, looking at the two things that it does. The first thing, we know that meiosis reduces the number of chromosomes in reproductive cells, and we also know that it causes genetic variability, right? And so if I was to show you guys a picture of my family here, um, and they have grown a lot, but here's my family right here, right? We can see that my kids, they don't look exactly the same. My wife and I, we all have our own different traits, and we were able to pass on those traits, and it's completely random to our children, right? And so I tell my wife that all the good looks in my kids came from her, right? Obviously. But anyways, so when we look at families, we know that genetic variability is there, and thank goodness, right? I think about this very often. What would our world look like without meiosis, without that genetic variation? If when I have my kids, they would just be exact clones, right? And it doesn't work. It wouldn't be right, right? We're all different, and it's an amazing thing. And it's all because of meiosis, and mostly because of sexual reproduction, right? And we know that sexual reproduction causes genetic variation because it's now getting a mixed match. I was having an issue with this in the other video. Um, mix match. My goodness, a mix up of set of. I should probably just start this video over. I'm not going to though because I don't want to. But anyways, it's we're getting a mix up of these different genes from both parents. And what's amazing is it's not just the parents. I mean, we got grandparents, their DNA is involved in that too, and grandparents before them. And it's just, it's awesome, okay, that we're all very different. And so I want you guys to read through this right here, and then I'll go over some key important details that I want you guys to think about. The first thing that's going to show you is a karyotype. Now, you guys, this is basically what they can do is take out a cell. From a cell, they can extract that DNA while it's in prophase. And when it's in prophase, it's still condensed chromosomes. And then they can kind of like take pictures of it and lay it out on a paper, kind of like this, right? As they take pictures, and we can actually see the different traits and chromosomes that person or organism has. You can see we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Chromosome pair 1 through 22 are what we call somatic chromosomes. They carry out, they read and create, and they have the genes to make us who we are, in our bodies, to make our bodies look they are, how we act, etc. But we have this chromosome right here that determines our gender. In X and Y, I know that this person is a male. If it was a female, it'd be an XX, right? So we'd have two of these together. And so we're going to be looking at this. What's awesome, you guys, is we have 23 pairs. Meiosis actually keeps that pair the same for each generation. So if you think about mitosis, each cell, when it's produced, would end up with the exact same 23 pairs of chromosomes. Meiosis, on the other hand, though, only has one pair passed on. Okay, and so if I was to kind of draw this for you guys, I want to make sure you guys understand this. Let's say that I've got my cell here. Where's my... Okay, so I've got my cell here, and let's say that we've got this chromosome. There's a chromosome pair, and then here's a chromosome pair. Let's say that I'm looking at mitosis. Mitosis, as it goes through all of that, would create two cells. Now remember, each cell is identical, and it'll be identical to the cell that it came from. So we'd have something like that. Okay, these are clones. clones of each other. And this is how our body gets made. All my skin cells will be the same, right? Because it's created through mitosis. But let's look at meiosis. So meiosis, if we started, let's say that this is, I'm looking at a male here. Here's male's DNA in his sperm. So he's going to make sperm here. And so we're going to actually end up with 4 cells when it comes to this. And what we actually notice is they have half the DNA. Okay. They'll have one copy, either this one or this one. And then they'll either have this one or this one. Okay. But it halves the DNA. Now the question is, why is that important? Why is it important that that DNA gets halved? And this is why. Because we know that during sexual reproduction, this is the first part of sexual reproduction, is creating these cells. And so this is sperm. So let's draw the little flagella for them to be swimmers, right? And so we got our sperm here. The female will create an egg. Now eggs are actually a lot larger than the sperm, but it also has one copy because it was created in the mother through meiosis as well. But it only has one half. And so what's interesting here is, let's say that this little guy makes it to it and fertilizes. Okay, now you get a zygote here. So let's say that we have fertilization. We call this fertilization. Okay, this is the second part of sexual reproduction. What we actually see is now the homologous chromosomes. Where's my colors? There we go. Let's say that the mother, I'm going to label them with red. She then will pass on that one. She also passes on this one. And the dad will pass on that one. And so you can see now the offspring that gets produced has half DNA from mom, half DNA from dad for each chromosome, okay? And now the offspring has 2 copies, which is right. We started with 2 copies. During meiosis, we split that in half because when the sperm and egg fuse, we want to go back to having 2 copies. So I want you guys to think about what happens if it didn't occur that way. And that's actually the next assignment. So I'm not going to surprise you there. I'll let you guys watch my other video, okay? But I want you guys to think about what would happen if that didn't occur, okay? All right. So you guys, in this activity, what you guys will be doing is you're going to be making a model. Okay, and now this model can be done in the video. I show you how you can make a PowerPoint presentation of this. If you want to make a physical model, take a picture of it. If you want to do a video, you could do that too. Okay, so the world is your oyster on what you want to do here. But ultimately, this is what you will need to do. Okay, this right here. So it says meiosis is the process in which chromosomes are duplicated and then separated into 4 reproductive cells that have half the number of chromosomes of the original organism. In addition, this process ensures that there are no pairs of chromosomes found in the reproductive cells. In other words, there is only 1 copy of each chromosome in reproductive cells instead of 2. Then during fertilization, a reproductive cell from a male and a reproductive cell from a female will fuse to form an embryo that has the same number of chromosomes as the original organism. This process happens in all animals, plants, and fungi that reproduce sexually. Your goal is to develop a model that explains what happens to the chromosomes within a cell during each stage of meiosis. So ultimately, you guys, you'll go through each stage of meiosis and show how it carries this out, looking specifically at this driving question. How does the process of meiosis reduce the number of chromosomes in reproductive cells and create genetic diversity? Okay. Now, you guys, there's a couple things that you can use in the video that I make. Now, again, I was having students do this in my classroom where I had these resources. I realize you guys don't have these resources. And so simply paper will work here. If you have pipe cleaners, do pipe cleaners. Or any other material you have, yarn, string, whatever it is that you guys can model what is happening at each stage. And while you're modeling it, I want you to explain to me what's happening in that phase and how it's helping to lead to this question, lead to diversity, and lead to reduction of chromosome number. Okay. So anyways, make sure that your model must include these. There's 3 things, so make sure you read that to get full points. I've even got some pictures here for you if you'd like to look that show some cells in different phases of meiosis that you can maybe use as a reference. All right. So you guys, again, I got this video here that I will post with it too that I made earlier, but I kind of even model it for you. Now I use these bead things that obviously you won't be able to use. However, you can use whatever you want. Even if you want to use a whiteboard and draw it, you can do that too. Okay. So anyways, if you have any questions though, please don't hesitate to contact me to get into, we can even meet together in a live office and work through it together if needed. All right. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later.